A woman to hold the same level of masculine attributes like focus, assertiveness, commitment, determination, it costs way more energy. And when a woman puts kind of the pants on, without kind of plan to go out of the situation, what actually happens is, because everything in universe, in the world is balance, kind of push the partner more into the feminine.
So there should be a perception of value as well, not only financially, materially, but also what is valuable to the relationship. Taking care of your kids is extremely valuable. Making sure they grow up to the best that they can is extremely valuable. Having a home to go home and decompress is extremely valuable.
Welcome to the Alchemy of Success podcast.
Your podcast for business, personal, and consciousness expansion. I'm Pedro.
And I'm Anna. And today we're going to talk about an amazing topic, and that is how to maintain a successful, loving relationship. And in this episode, you will hear more from Pedro. Not that I didn't have a long-term relationship, but in comparisons to him, with his 26 years, definitely I cannot top this. So that's why Pedro has prepared amazing topics around myths and what is important to create a successful relationship, and what are the key elements. So Pedro, without any further talking, I'll just give the words to you.
Thank you, Anna. So let's discuss what are the keys to a successful relationship. But first, let's talk about the myths. Here's why it's a really important thing to understand. There could be a long-term relationship, meaning there's many years invested into it, but are they really happy? Is there really joy on a day-to-day basis? Is there a lot of arguments? Is there a lot of friction? Are they staying for different reasons? Maybe it's for the kids. Most people do that for the kids. Maybe it's financial. There's a lot of different reasons why people sort of stick around longer than perhaps they should. So I want to discuss exactly what we can do and how we can see our relationship perhaps in a different light. The first thing to do is discuss the myths. And the first myth is every relationship should be 50-50. I work as hard, she should work as hard, and vice versa. I bring in the money, she should bring in the money, or whatever your thought pattern is, whatever your standard is. We actually discussed in the last episode. No relationship is 50-50. That's not true. Here's why. You're basically saying or believing that every point throughout the entire day or even the week, you will be at the same energy level, the same thought pattern. You're both going to be happy at the same time. Everything's going to be equal. You're literally a mirror of each other energetically, communication-wise, what happens during the day. And that is not possible. That is not possible. A relationship that has so much invested into it, positive relationship, understand that sometimes I'm going to have a really bad day, or sometimes my partner's going to have a really bad day. But as long as we communicate, hey, listen, I'm really low right now. I don't have the energy, or I had a really rough day at work. So I know we usually talk, but I don't want to get snippy. So I'm just letting you know that I had a really rough day. So the partner, when she hears something like this, she understands, or he understands, that they have to elevate themselves and be more forgiving, hold more space, and perhaps allow them to process, if that's how they process in silence. Or maybe they process by being held and being comforted. Okay? So every relationship will have those times throughout the entire day. You don't even have to wait another day. Like literally, it happens. So as long as you are able to properly communicate, where are you in that state? In the state of mind and also in the feelings. How are you doing? Now, some people have asked me, well, what happens if we're both having a really crappy day? What then? Well, if you communicate, I'm having a bad day, babe, so am I. Okay, then how do you process? I like to be in silence. How do I process? I like to connect. physically. Okay. Then we have to understand that one person will have to go through their process and we will try to find our way in the middle. If I'm a person that connects physically, I'm more emotional, I'm more in tune with my body, my feelings. And the other person is more reclusive, more internal, more into their mind, then I will meet them halfway, and so will they. I'm giving them their space to process, but I'll be close to them. I'm not going to talk to them because I want them to let them go through their process, but I will be close to them, proximity. This way I get that balance and they will get their balance of processing and integration of whatever they're doing through that day. So it's really understanding how your partner is feeling that day is super, super important. And understanding that if you're both having bad days, then give each other the space to allow themselves to go back to their baseline, their homeostasis, their true self, which is more in a really chilled, more hopefully joyful environment and joyful state of mind. But that's the first thing is that's BS. There is no 50-50 all the time. There is no 50-50, especially in a long-term relationship. It's going to happen. Good days and bad days. Other myth that I hear.
Before you go, what maybe I'd like to add to this, why also about 50-50 not always works. You know, sometimes, of course, throughout the day, and like Pedro said, there could be days where both are kind in a rough situation or rough, not so energetically, so they can hold the space. When we communicate this, what we also can communicate is to say, hey, or at least I can understand that when my partner has a rough day and me also, that actually it can happen that we get very easily triggered. And then it can happen that a communication is not as smooth as normally is. That maybe some words or some action can occur that normally in a normal, like a state of joy, of like more energetically won't happen. So that means this communication also should give us the awareness and the understanding that not to take it as personal as maybe in another situation could be taken. Because you know, we have spoken in some episodes about the subconscious mind, the conscious mind, and very often when we're in lower state, we cannot focus so much in our conscious mind. So that means we operate then mostly almost 100% in the subconscious mind. And depending on how clear we are or how much we have cleaned our limiting beliefs or our patterns, then these patterns can kick in faster than in a normal situation, or maybe a little more accelerated than when the energy level is kind of normal. So that means by me knowing that my partner is in a kind of lower state, and maybe me also, I get this awareness, or I create this awareness that this situation can occur. So it helps me not to take it so personal. And another topic about the 50-50 is, and I think that is very often around finances. Sometimes in relationships can happen that the one or the other person, for one or another reason, cannot hold the financial status that has been established at the beginning of the relationship, because maybe the one has a very good earning job, the other one also, but something happens so that the one person loses his or her job. So that means when we try to hold 100% on 50-50, can create a huge tension towards the person who maybe because of some reason lost their job, or maybe the business has just a crisis and so on. So that means it's very important to be aware that in this situation, we sit together and create a plan, a tangible plan, where to say, okay, babe, you know what? I can hold the missing part from your side, but we need to find a plan how we can go out and come back to a more stable financial situation. So, because what I have observed or myself experience in relationship is that I had a partner or two partner who went into kind of lower financial status. And I thought, okay, the best way to help them is by me like closing the gap. What on the first sight, perfectly. But the communication by the closing the gap, there wasn't a plan set there. It was kind of, it happens kind of, and it wasn't really communicated, and it wasn't really kind of aligned from the both sides. Okay, for what time we're talking, what are the terms, what are the condition? In terms of condition, I don't say, okay, I'm going to pay that and you're going to pay me back. It's not what I'm talking about. But to say, okay, I'm looking for this and this solution. That is where I'm working towards. And I'm going to communicate always to say, okay, how far I really go in towards the goal so we can realign again our financial situation. And if that's not happening, then we're going to work on plan B or maybe a plan C. So because that was one of the reasons why my relationship, two times get into huge troubles, because this kind of like plan wasn't set up or it wasn't communicated the right way. And that creates tensions because the communication wasn't on set. You understand what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I'll add even a little bit more to that. So not only the monetary value, which is what Anna's discussing, but also the tangible value. Here's what I mean. Sometimes there's a person that brings in the income, and sometimes somebody has to stay home and take care of the family. And let me tell you right now, to anybody who's listening, that is not easy. That is not easy. After COVID, my eyes were completely wide open. How much work it goes into creating this beautiful place that my wife has created for me, this home. It literally is a home. It's not a house. It's a home. It takes a lot of work, and put a family on top of that. So there should be a perception of value as well, not only financially, materially, but also what is valuable to the relationship. Taking care of your kids is extremely valuable. Making sure they grow up to the best that they can is extremely valuable. Having a home to go home and decompress is extremely valuable. Okay. So I also want to make sure that people understand when you start seeing things this way, it will also help you have a longer, more peaceful and joyful relationship, because you're also adding the value and telling the person, the partner, that there is value to what you're doing. It doesn't have to be only financially, but it's also intrinsic value. And so that's a great point.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I just wanted to add it because that was, for example, for me, one of the most challenging points towards the 50-50 relationship or the 50-50 topic, where I never had the problem to take care. And that was kind of also a pattern I find out came from my parents. So I realized it later. But I needed to go through the hard way, and especially what I experienced, and, maybe it's just my experience. It doesn't need to be for everybody. But when a woman starts taking care more of the finances, and it kind of, because it's in the men have more masculine attributes. That's why I'm born as a man, because for you is more natural to hold the masculine attributes than for a woman. For a woman to hold the same level of masculine attributes, like focus, assertiveness, commitment, determination, it costs way more energy. And when a woman puts kind of the pants on, without kind of plan to go out of the situation, what actually happens is, because everything in universe, in the world is balance, kind of push the partner more into the feminine, what is also not his natural state. And it's, if it's not, a man love to hunt. They want to go beyond goals. It's like more natural for you, in the masculine. And when suddenly are put in a state of way too much ease and kind of like this, how to say it, surrender state, but I don't know. I'm not finding currently the right word for this. Then they tend to lose the driving force. It actually kills the driving force.
Yeah. Yes. And that leads to the other myth that we need to talk about, which is, okay, all of you have heard of this. Oh, you're better off being with somebody that's similar to you. That's not true. And I'll give you proof. All right. Say your major focus in life, your priorities in life is your career. Say that's your priority. Okay. You want somebody similar to you. That partner's focus in life is your career. How do you think that's going to play out? Get family involved. Who's taking care of the family? Where are we moving? Oh, you got a promotion in this other state. Okay, where are we going? But my career is also important to me. How do you think that's going to play out? Say you're both jealous. You're both jealous. How's that going to play out? Trust me when I tell you, what you want is a relationship that is complementary. They have certain assets, certain abilities, skill sets, and gifts that complement what you lack. For example, a person that's very into their mind, disconnected from their body in the sense of that they're always thinking, and when they fall in love, it's more of a thought process, and then they eventually feel it and they get used to it. Say the other person is the opposite. The person is very passionate, very, not only physically, but also shows passion, sells the words love, and just loves connection. The person that doesn't have that, the person that didn't grow up with that, you don't think that's very attractive to them because they didn't have it. You always want what you don't have. Vice versa. The other person keeps them in balance because instead of just reacting on your emotions, you're also now pausing and thinking because the person gives you that space to do so and is kind of showing you and allowing you to grow. I'm going to take it one step further. Now, you know how we kept talking about in the previous episode, how it is so important to grow as a couple, otherwise you might potentially grow apart. Well, how do you grow? This person is totally different from me in certain aspects, and that person wants to learn or experience how I'm feeling or how I am, and vice versa. So you're growing together in a relationship. You're understanding each other in a relationship where you're also growing individually. You're learning something new about yourself. That, for me, gives you a really good chance of being successful.
You're gaining another perception as you have a different attributes that are more natural. That means by interacting in this kind of relationship, I'm able to gain another perception. And again, communication. And the other person is able to gain another perception. But here is very important that the both are aware about the differences and not hold it against the other as a difference. Correct?
That's
so
correct.
It needs to be seen as a gift and not as a burden.
That's right.
Because okay, give you an example. So maybe because you're 26 years with your loving wife. What if the one person has an entrepreneur mindset? So want to really develop, to have this freedom of entrepreneurship so far that maybe can give them the freedom of more traveling, can give them the freedom more like not to be always at the same place or to be more flexible. But when the partner wants to be employed, isn't this kind of like a roadblock for the relationship? Because if the one is employed and doesn't have the flexibility and the other person works towards flexibility and freedom, they cannot experience this freedom together, as the one had like maybe, I don't know, 20 days vacation, and the other one can take vacation, or at least can organize their work so that it fits.
Yes, and it goes back to priorities to me. So the person that has 20 days, I could have 3 months, but are those 3 months well spent? Within, how about those 20 days? Are you maximizing those 20 days? Are you really maximizing to your relationship, your family, all that stuff? It could work, but you have to prioritize what you're going to do with those days. How are you going to see those days? Are they going to be valuable to you? Here's what I mean. I've been through this cycle. You start in the US. I don't know how it is. It's actually different in Europe. I know for a fact it's different in Europe. But in the US, you start with 2 weeks vacation. Then you work 5, 7 more years, maybe add another week. Then when you have 10 plus years, you add another week, depending on your level, 4 weeks. Usually that's the max. Some companies give a little bit more, but usually that's the max. So those 2 weeks, I had to learn, because my wife had more. She had 26 days. I only had 10 days. So those 2 weeks, big difference. So this is the example you're giving. So it's not quite the same, but it's in regards to time off, a little bit the same. So I had to learn that those 2 weeks, we're going to plan something really important that we're going to do together. We're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to create a lot of memories. Because the other time I was going to be working. So I had to make that my priority. I had to make that my focus, that those 10 days, we're going to have an amazing time and create more memories together that will pull us through the down days, to pull us through the tough days. So that was my thinking back then, as you start getting closer to that. Entrepreneurship, it's a different animal. It's a different beast. You have to hustle all the time, and it's a different beast than being employed. Take it from me.
Definitely. I had yesterday a conversation with my business partner. He said, my ex-partner thought I have another woman in my life, and he said, that is my another woman. This company, my plan here, me working till 4 or 5 a.m. in the morning and so on. I'm like, oh my God. But that comes again, priority, So,
That's right.
Okay. So that means complementary in order to grow and expand together.
Yes.
And to get wider perception. So create a wider perspective as a couple. And the point with emotional, what you say, that's very interesting, because I wasn't the kind of touchy person. So I was like, because I never grew up with really experiencing like physical touch. So for me was sometimes like, a little more distance, So, I learned it actually through my family, through my stepmother, if I need to be honest, and her daughter, because she was very like cuddling, and I'm like, please let me go. And she comes and cuddles and then want to give me a kiss here and kiss there. And I'm like, But thanks to her, and that is what you say, it wasn't pleasant, but thanks to her, I learned to allow this physical interaction. It's not just in a loving relationship. It's also in a family context.
That's right.
So it's not always easy when we have a complementary partner, but I think where it gets easy is when we understand the value about the different attitudes or different talents, and we kind of align how we can use these talents in combination so we grow as a couple. And doesn't matter whether this is in loving terms, whether this is towards building a family, whether this is towards building a business together, or. So I'm like the kind of open-minded, open, connective person. So if I have a partner who is more about like maybe mental, but not so good in connection, so I can open the door with the connectivity and he can deliver the value.
And there's And we're not going to do it in this episode. So please comment below, but we could literally dive deep so you can actually understand yourself, who you are in that role, and then understand your partner, who they are. Because the more you understand who they are and yourself, the more predictive it becomes of their behaviors, how they're thinking, and the better you should be able to handle those situations or react because you understand them at a deeper level. So we could do a full episode on that, but I'm not going to go into it because it's a lot of information. But if you guys are interested, please comment and we'll put one together if you guys are interested. Okay. So the next step, we've been talking about who the heck you are. So I'm going to give you a couple of little highlights, very, very, very high level. Things you need to be aware about yourself. Just start thinking, okay? There's more for you guys to start thinking. How the hell do you handle rejection in a relationship or just rejection in general? Pause and think about that. How do you handle rejection? Are you the type that steps forward? Meaning, if I'm rejected, oh, no. You're the first one to make the move. You're the first one to try to reconnect. So you're moving forward to the partner. Now, are you the type of person that withdraws, that goes into themselves? I want to be left alone. Go into your mind. You go into your emotions because you're trying to feel about how do I feel about this? I'm kind of pissed right now, but you're kind of mulling it over, and it takes a little bit longer. I know you are already. I know my friend very well.
I'm honored. Hey.
I know. So that alone will start giving you the qualifiers of the type of individual that you are. So if you know at least how do you handle there's three other major factors. But how do you handle rejection? At least you know when I do something that my partner feels rejected, and they're the type of person that tends to be forward and more in tune with their body. They're more emotional in the sense that they really feel things right away. They don't process as much. Then you should be cognizant in the relationship if you're the other type of person. Okay, I should make some time during the week to find some connective time. It's not my natural state, but make some time to find some connection. Because if you don't do that consistently, they will keep feeling rejected. What happens when you reject somebody? They start looking somewhere else. Make sense? Because they need that connection. They thrive on that connection. If you're the other person, so now I'm the person that likes to connect, and say Anna is the other person. Okay. So she feels rejected. What am I going to do? What I need to know about Anna is I need to give her space. I need to give her time to integrate. I need her to give time to process whatever emotion she's going through. So I will make sure I talk to her and go, hey, listen, I just want to let you know I'm here for you if you need me, but I will give you your space, and let her be. As she goes through her cycles, she will go and then finally connect and decide how she feels. Believe it or not, guys, this is true. This is real science. Then when she's ready, she will come and meet you in the middle. And if you do that consistently, Anna will be very happy.
Definitely. So when my emotions are like that, don't stay in front of me,
Because it's true. Now I'm going to give you the unconscious version of the example I just gave you. Okay, say I'm not aware of what I just told you guys. That I have no clue that I should be giving Anna space. I'm going to keep going after Anna. Hey, Anna, because I need the connection. Hey, Anna, you okay? Hey, Anna, you okay? Like, oh, you should be. She's like.
Punch in the face.
And that's
actually what happens is it creates more gap.
Yes, that's my whole point.
It creates a bigger gap instead of like giving me the space and kind of, okay, let me just first reintegrate. I reflect on myself, but let me first reflect before I because if you try to meet me when I'm here, it just gonna brings me higher.
Oil and water. But see, if I'm not aware of that, now imagine if I wasn't aware of that, that would be the end result. She would not be happy. And guess what? If she's not happy, then I feel rejected again. So it's a really not a good situation. So if the more you understand yourself and the more you understand your partner, You understand exactly, okay, what is the time to talk to them? Even communication is important, which we're going to discuss later, but also when to communicate, when to be you 100%, and when to scale back you, maybe 20, 30, 50%.
And it doesn't mean that you're not authentic.
Exactly.
That has nothing to do with, I'm not honest and I'm not authentic and I'm not allowed to be authentic in the relationship. But it's more about the awareness.
Being conscious.
Is it the right time?
That's right. That's all it is. Timing is everything.
And like you give the example, if you're like the one who need this connection, and I'm pissed and I'm not aware that you're this connection person. So that means I just stay on mine. I'm like, okay, I'm just holding my connection to you back. No, I'm not giving it. No, I'm not giving it. What is the result? Creates more gap.
That's right. More hurt feelings, more distance. Absolutely. So that's only one of 3 of the core attributes. Like I said, it could be an entire episode, so we'll do that later. But please comment if you want to know the entire thing, how to identify yourself, therefore have a chance for a happier relationship because you know the other partner too. Okay, the last one, the really important one. And we've been saying it throughout the entire thing already. Communication, 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 communication. Okay.
Hallelujah.
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 Now, this is where you guys really need to understand how you communicate. Here's what I mean.
And before we deep dive, I just want to remind you, Pedro is 26 years with his partner, happily successful, and I am able to experience, even if we're in 2 different continents, yet their relationship, and to see how, even if it's going through sometimes like a little rough period, it always comes better than before. And they have even a huge age difference. So what normally creates also an additional kind of challenge in a relationship. They have a completely different background. So that means different cultures where they come from. That's create a different challenge. So when he talks to you, that communication is the key. Please take it not just, I'm talking to this because I learned it, but because he actually implemented on daily basis.
100%.
I just wanted to underline this,
So thank you for that. So the first thing is understanding how do you communicate. Here's what I mean. Are you the type of person that's short on words, that is having a difficult time to express? Because not all of us are very great with the gift of speak, of expression. So the people that tend to be sometimes reclusive, not all the time, but sometimes reclusive, struggle sometimes to find the words because they're not connected to their essence. They're quickly, their emotions. And it's just struggle because they're processing a lot of stuff right now. Sometimes they struggle with the communication. Sometimes the other way around. But the important thing is, how do I communicate? Do I find my expression easier to tell somebody my emotions because I'm more connected to my body? Or do I struggle? So that's the first thing. How do you communicate, and how does your partner communicate? So now you know if your partner struggles with their expression, that this is what you do. Ask them. So sure. So can you just let me know exactly what are you trying to tell me, and how, just so I have a better understanding of what you want to convey. Just ask them, to express a little bit more, and you can help them along the way with finding the right words. Sometimes you do that, or sometimes they'll give you clues. Now it's no longer verbal. Just the other piece. Yeah, you'll sense it. I don't get, you will sense the energy.
That are the women. Guys, listen with these ears. We women, we say something and we mean completely different. Don't ask why.
I learned the hard way. Yeah.
Don't ask why. It's like, it's very difficult for us to communicate straight ahead what we want. It's really difficult.
Sometimes they tell you I'm fine and they're not fine.
Listen to the vibration.
To the tone, number one, nonverbal cues. Listen to their tone. I'm fine. Listen to the speed. I'm fine. Is it quick? Is it short? Okay. Look at their facial expressions because they can't they, unless they're a great liar, but no, they it's hard to hold it in.
I'm fine.
Exactly, I'm fine. And look into the body posture. So all these things give you clues if what the woman is telling you is true, or even the guy, because we're it's both sexes. So if that person is telling you is true, are they being truthful to their words? So don't hold it against them. This is the part of communication. Don't hold it against them. Well, you told me you're fine. I mean, what do you want me to do? That means you're not paying attention and you're not recognizing how the person is communicating, how the person expresses themselves. So that means you need to do a little bit more homework. You need to reconnect with them a little bit deeper and tell them, baby, what do you actually mean? What are you okay? If they're giving you the I'm fine thing and I see their thing is all off, like, it happens. I go, baby, are you okay? I mean, I'm here for you. Just let me know if you're okay. Just, that's it. Just whenever you're ready, you could just chat to me. You see my tone? You see how I'm holding space? I'm allowing the person to communicate the way they're communicating. I'm not going to press them. And when they're ready, they'll tell me. So listen to nonverbal cues, listen to the words, the tone. And I know it takes practice, guys. It definitely takes practice. But Jesus, if you're in that relationship and you want a really long lasting, loving relationship, then you will make it a priority to get to know your partner. Because that is another expression of love.
And that's not only important for a loving relationship to learn this, and this is kind of a safe space at home. Mm-hmm. It gonna makes you more sensitive towards your business partner, towards your client, towards your colleagues, towards your family, towards your children, whatever. It's like, but it's kind of the more safe space because you both hopefully entered into this relationship really and hopefully are willing to make it happen, and yeah. Sometimes when we say I'm fine, it's just because we need the space currently. Like Pedro said, okay, I'm here when you need me, come. Or sometimes it needs maybe when we know how our partner communicate is to understand, okay, maybe just a hug. If it's more about the physical touch person, to just give a hug and say nothing.
That's right.
And this will create this safe space to open also to communicate it also verbally. So when we know how our partner communicate or what type of person is, we can actually use this not in a negative way, but kind of a way to create more safe space, to allow them to open more deeply than just to say, I'm fine.
And that's what I call being a conscious listener. Because you're not only conscious of what they're saying, but you're also conscious of what they're projecting. The physical cues, the nonverbal cues. And when someone's talking, and you should pay attention, to be honest with you. You should not be looking at your phone. You should not be ignoring them. Yeah. That's the worst thing you could do. Because guess what nonverbal cues you're giving when you do that you don't care. Even if it's in business. You're in a meeting and you're checked out. That's not a good vibe you're going to give to whoever's involved in that business meeting. Your partner at home, not good. Your parents, your siblings, no. So being a great listener is an amazing skill set that everyone could develop, but you have to work at it. You just have to work at it and actually give a damn about the person in front of you, whoever the hell that is. And that's why communication to me is integral in business and personal relationships, familial, friends. It's an important skill set how to do that properly. I know it led me to my success. So It's really
And
important.
I think what we can circle back is again to the first myth of the 50-50, because, for example, if the partner want to communicate or is not willing to communicate something that bothers and expect the other to create the safe space, but we maybe are not at this energetically level able to hold it in this moment, then we are also in our right to say, hey, I see that maybe something off, but if I need to be honest myself, I'm also not at the level that I could create this space for you. It has nothing to do with you. I just had a rough day and so on. So, in this way, even if the other side want to communicate something or they don't feel, at least they can understand why maybe you're not able to make this extra step or to go the extra mile in this very moment. And it's again, communication. And I can tell you all my relationships ended because of the lack of communication on the level that both persons saw themselves seen, understood, accepted, not judged. Especially for women, as we grow very much to be judged towards everything, how we look, what we wear, what we say, blah, 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 I think boys are more about, go and try. So more about this, go and try. But we ladies, be beautiful, sit calm, sit relaxed. So we, in my personal experience, we grow with too much kind of this fear of being judged. So that's why we tend to be afraid sometimes to say directly what we want or what we expect, because it's this underlying fear or sometimes even shame that is created from society, especially when it's around sexuality. There is a lot of shame created towards the women. So these are topics or ways that difficult for us to express. And the more safe we feel, more open we can communicate. When we have the feeling we're going to be judged about something, we tend to back up.
That's right. That's right. And understanding what Anna has just said is super important. Giving you an insight, a window to the feminine energy, to the feminine being that's in front of you. The more you understand that, how they operate is how they are inherently, the easier it will be for you to communicate and deal with them and interact with them. Whether it's an actual relationship, like a partnership, or just friends or business.
I can give you an example. I have a very good friends who can create this amazing safe space, like you also, Pedro. And when we have conversation and I share something with him and then I stop, he always asks me, is there something more? Is there something more that you want to share that maybe you're holding back currently? Because, we sometimes, especially when we're like in this power woman attitude, I got it by myself. I can handle it by myself. So you share something that bothers you, but not to the level that you really feel after that at ease. And this simple question shows me, okay, this person, A, is interested in me as person. B, can create this safe space. C, it feels that it's like I'm stopping, but it's not like the final, like really completely like, emptied in the need of communication. And that really created a strong relationship between us on communication level and friendship.
That's good. It's very good.
What if your wife is now here? Join us in the conversation. what would be maybe one advice that she will also gonna give for, maybe could be something from what we have spoken, but yet from her perception?
Okay. So two things, because I know because she's mentioned it to me and how she's different, which I love. So if you expect the other person to not be jealous, you expect the other person to give you freedom, independence, all that things, then you need to be able to do the same thing to them. Whatever you expect to be done to you, you need to be able to do to them. So you ask by example, by proving I trust you enough, therefore you trust me enough. And very few women can do that. I tell you, which is why when jealousy was a big thing against me, I was like, that looks like lack of self-confidence. I didn't resonate with that when I was very young. Hence all these different relationships. But that's the one thing. The second thing that I know many women don't do this. And the reason I say this is because of all the stuff that's in social media, the friends that I have a lot of female friends, a ton of female friends. They're close friends. They're close friends. Anna, I consider a very close friend. So the other thing is, not only does she trust me, she trusts me still. And I trust her, obviously, implicitly. It's also about knowing when you have these bad moments, when you are off, but more importantly, how do you hold space as soon as they come in? So I come in, I come home, really rough day. A lot of women want to tell them about what day they had, which they should. That's part of the communication. But they don't give space enough to the man to express themselves. And because we're
too chatty?
Yes. And they don't realize, literally, they don't realize that the guy is dying inside. The guy's ready to explode inside. And guess what we do? Because it's what we're born and trained to do because of society and cultures. You stuff that crap in. No matter how crappy you feel, how angry you are, or how sad or miserable you are, you stuff it in. Your job is to provide, and that's the end of it. So imagine how different and how much of a relief it is that you have a partner. As soon as you come home, you start talking about your day. And as soon as, because she's paying attention, she senses something's off. What's really going on today? What really happened today? How do you feel? And allows and holds that space for you to express yourself. Because a lot of women don't do that. They go on and on and on and discard it. And then I'm supposed to be heard. And that's the end of it. He's a guy. He's like, whatever. Guys also have feelings. Guys have feelings. I don't care who you are. You have a feeling. Because if you interview every successful person there, what is the one thing that's really in common? Okay. They have a partner that has their back. They have a partner that was there for them, that supports them 120%. They have a person that's they're confident, that they could really, drive and motivate them and be there for the rough times. They have a partner who listens. That's the difference between successful and not successful. Or are you the partner that kind of puts them down when they're down? And by not listening, you're doing exactly that. Because you're saying stuff your emotions.
For me, I cannot resonate with this because I always ask. I actually always want to know. I needed to teach my partners to share, actually, because I always had kind of partner that didn't want to share. So I needed to kind of like teach or guide or, to show that it has nothing with judgmental or it's not weakness to share like moments that are rough or that felt kind of weak, but yeah, I can think that.
But you can imagine that, right?
Yeah, I can imagine, definitely. Yeah. I'm very talkative, so I can imagine, that because kind of it's maybe this stereotype that is created in society. Okay, women are the emotional and men are the rational. So like that's why we think, okay, let me share with you, blah 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 blah, and you just tell me, yeah, the rational topics, but not, hey, this I had a difficult client conversation and that what you say really hit me here. Or for example, I don't know, maybe your mom called me, my mom called me and I know I need to stay between, for example, sometimes there is the situation need to mitigate between the partner and the mother. And it's not always easy for the man, because he loves his mom, he loves his partner. And now what are you doing? So you need to mitigate in the middle and try to even the path. But yeah, definitely. That's, I used to be, and I'm not saying it with proud at all. I wasn't happy about this attitude. That was a very strange for me. I used to be very happy in excitement that my partner comes home. But the moment he came home, I was kind of, uh, creating like a boundaries, this kind of wall. And instead to be warming and like hugging and giving the space, I used to kind of distance. I don't know. And that was something years later I find out came from the way how I grew up, what I experienced as a child. And I was always asking myself, what's wrong with me? I'm like happy to the moment till he opens the doors and come in. And in this moment, I'm like cold like a stone. You know what I mean? This warmth that I want to express that was within me, just gone, like gone. And I see it and I feel it, but I wasn't able to change it because I didn't know how, you know? And, and, and that's maybe also something that why this is created, why we women then start to talk so much or to overshare. It's everything related to how you grew up, but it's very good to become conscious because eventually you can overcome it. Like I did it. It took me time, of course, to be aware, to find a way how to do it, to find the right tools and so on. And yet, I'm pretty happy, that I was able to do this. And I'm not judging my old self. And what we want maybe to understand with our episodes, with our communication in everyone, please, even if you're not aware of some of the things or not doing it to this level, we're not sharing this with you to start judging yourself and to feel bad. The only reason why we're sharing this with you is because we have experienced this to some level and we find a way to overcome it or to learn out of the situation, to integrate it and to change. But it's important not to judge yourself for doing it or not doing certain things, but more about to become aware. Is that what you're doing or not doing serving your success in life in every area, whether it's loving relationship, whether it's business, whether it's health, whether it's family, or it's kind of more like, pulling you back. It's just about awareness. That's why it's a podcast for conscious expansion. Just become aware, but don't judge the place where you currently you are at. Because there is a lot of circumstances why people are at the level of consciousness they are.
That's right. That's why we're just sharing as much as we can, and whatever resonates, take it. Whatever doesn't, just leave it. It's perfectly fine. Totally up to you. No harm, no foul.
Exactly. And if you're not the kind of person who wants long-term loving relationship, then think of long-term, I don't know, business relationship. You can take the same rules, of course, implemented into the circumstances of a business relationship and use it there. Correct. You can do it to relationship towards your goals, or whatever.
That's right.
You still need to have like open communication to be aware what you're doing, not doing, what you promise yourself and not keep, or overpromise and
Very
not
true.
able to hold. You know, at the end, um, it's just permission slip to become more and more aware to who you want to be in relationship to everything in your life, to alchemize your success.
And maybe this week's assignment for yourself, if you choose, just write down how you see yourself, not in a judgmental way, but how you see yourself in a way that gives you the chance to try something different next week. If you notice that perhaps maybe you could be a little bit more receptive, or maybe you could learn how to listen a little bit differently, just try it and see how it worked out for you. Experiment, change it up a little bit. Just do that for yourself. And whatever resonates, once again, whatever resonates, just do that. Try something different, try something new, and see if it works. And if it does, then you keep adding to that baseline and keep adding more and more different perspectives that you resonate with and see how that works too.
And if you're in a relationship, just do it best toward your relationship, you know. See how you can maybe improve by 1%. If you do this 1% every day, 365% increase in your relationship, like in 1 year. If you decide to be 1% every week, it's still 52% increasing at least in your relationship after 1 year. And that's huge because a lot of people, like as we started the episode, we're stuck in a relationship and we feel maybe that it's not going anymore else, but we kind of like give up. We just kind of stay.
And please comment below if you want to really have a full episode of understanding yourself and your partner. Go ahead and comment. And if there's enough traction, but you guys have to share, like, subscribe as much as you can. Because if there's enough traction, we'll actually craft an episode specifically tailored for that. And I promise you, it'll be shocking to see yourself probably for the first time and your partner.
Yeah. Thank you so much for being here, Pedro. Thank you for sharing your experience. I definitely took for myself a lot of notes, way to be more conscious, especially I think towards that, what you say, how I communicate and how currently I'm not in a relationship, but in my previous relationships. And definitely I can see a pattern. I can see like kind of learning curve even more. So definitely. And also the 50-50, that is also something very, very important, like this awareness of energy. And yeah, thank you so much. Thank you guys. Have a wonderful week ahead and see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks for watching. Click on one of the videos below and don't forget to like and subscribe.